Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. How are you? I hope you're all looking good. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Right, so we have a bunch of problems here, man. We got a bunch of problems we gotta solve. Our back's against the wall, as usual. But if you don't think we're gonna pull out of this one, you don't know Red Shadow. What is up? If you think we're not gonna pull out of this one, you don't know Red Shadow. What is up? If you think we're not gonna pull out of this one, you don't know Red Shadow. What is up? We always pull out of this one, bro. We always be pulling out this one, bro. Bruh, we always be pulling out on this one, bro, okay? Now, sweeties, y'all think we're not gonna pull out of this one, bro? Bro, we always come out on top on this one, bro. Because here's the deal. Who said that? Sweeties. Y'all mind if I run a quick errand? Shadows. Red Shadow, what is up? Red Shadow, what is up? Red Shadow, what is up? Y'all don't mind if I run a quick errand real quick, do y'all? Y'all don't mind if I run a quick errand real quick, do y'all? I'll even let you watch my TV. Bruh. Oh. There's Daniel coming in for me. Daniel's always got my back. I know he does, no matter what. Isn't that right, Daniel? You always have my back. First things first. The first thing we gotta figure out. What episode are we releasing today? I'm so behind. I'm so fucked. We're probably we only have time for one game, really. So whatever it is, it better be good. Better be fucking cool. Whatever it is, it better be good. Bum, bum, You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like boom, bing, bing, bang, ding, 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 ding. You know what I'm saying? Today we're gonna either play. It looks like based on the results, and what do I know? You know what I mean? I'm just a humble merchant. But it kind of appears to be to me that it's going to be true that we're going to play whatever the winner of the straw poll result is, which is a tie still between these two lovely, lovely games. So let me take care of some Benny, if you don't mind. If you don't mind. If you don't mind. If you don't mind. 3744. So, real quick, we're going to have to just slap together this. One second. We're really behind. We're probably going to have time for exactly one game right now, which is better than nothing, right? So good to see you, Daniel. How you feeling today, man? It's got you, dude. It's got your number. There is a way around it if you want to skew the results, which I totally stand by. I want people to be one of the themes of this channel is to bring out the worst that people have in them. So if you want to display the worst part of yourself, now is the time. Yeah, this is also the same thing. This looks like it worked out. So we're going to delete, cancel, hold on. We're going to delete this one. Then we have, is this 78? Okay, so we got to do 79. Anything, where's 79? Oh, brother. What even happens? This is called, this one's gonna be called Who is Hammy? Here, let me entertain you guys with a little red shadow. Just give me a second. And then I gotta run one errand, and then we're gonna play, and then we're gonna, and other stuff is gonna happen too. Okay. One second. Let me show y'all what's going on. Y'all gonna make me lose my mark. It's true. Okay. Okay, 1 second, Daniel. I need you to hold down the fort for a second. Brother, trust me, I'm gonna play everything on this show, man. Trust me. I'm gonna play like every damn thing on this show, bro. And then some. We're gonna play every good game, basically. There's no good game that we're not gonna play on this show. Trust me. Here, give me 2 seconds, okay? Put that smile on your face. Make that smile on your face. Yep, you gotta hold down the fort for me, pal. That's the big. We gotta make sure that we hold down the fort, okay? We gotta make sure that we hold down the fort, okay? Whatever we do, we gotta make sure that we. Okay? Just make sure we hold the fort down a little bit. I need your help now. Okay?
If I go this way.
If anybody asks what I'm doing or where I am, just tell them I'm running errands.
No, I'm saying if I go this way, then it will be gone. Then I'll go this way. No, because it flips back.
Wait a minute. I don't want to get rid of this one.
Because it flips back again. So I have to go this way. I need a piece of candy.
Is anything else going on here?
Guys, look. This is how many are left. Okay? I'm running low.
Okay. Here we go. This is really good here. We're going to be.
Look. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. It's like the same thing over and over again. I don't know how to beat this, dude. This is like the toughest puzzle in the game. 2 back, and then you go up. No.
Well, we can redo it. It's okay.
It's like it needs to be reset, but it can be reset because it needs
why
to
is there this? What is this all about?
Hey guys, look. Okay. You guys are probably just catching up here. Okay. My bad. Let me be a good host. So, right now I'm playing Undertale, okay? But I'm also playing Pokemon Fire Red version. See that right over here? This is my Fire Red section. Okay? And that's what's premiering right now. We've got some people watching. Okay? That's the first thing that's happening. And so while this is premiering, I'm just playing this game, Undertale. I'm recording it. And
Let's name it Falcon.
It doesn't make any sense to me, this puzzle. Bam, and you go this way and up and back. But then if you go that way, we'll stop. Oh, I'm seriously done with this. Done. Done again. I don't care. Okay? I seriously don't care. I'm done with it. I've done it too long now. And we're finished with it, okay? So look. We're just gonna sit and watch RC. No, you know what? That's another thing. While I watch, let's play some Game Boy. Okay, now this is a puzzle game. Check it out. This is a puzzle game. Yep. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's not Nancy.
You know what I'm saying? What's up, guys? It's your boy RC, Red Shadow.
What is up?
And we're gonna play some Tetris because
I'm on the road to Radio City.
I need to prove it to you guys that I'm not bad at games. So here we go. We're gonna go.
I'm on the road to the Radio
Maybe
City.
hard for you to see this. Like, yeah, so I'm playing on my Game Boy Pocket, which is not the system it came out on necessarily.
I'm on the road to the
You know what I mean?
Radio City.
Let me see when I do that.
I'm on the road to the Radio
close can I
City.
To the camera.
I'm on the road to the Radio City.
Sorry, first start very poorly. So yeah, so this is the Game Boy Pocket. What's very
guys,
interesting about this one is
did anybody,
it runs on
well,
AAA
I maybe
batteries,
shouldn't
which
say this,
I
but
had
did
to
anybody, oh,
dig for.
who is he?
So we're just going to play this puzzle game while we do it. I'm not really sure what it's called. I think it's called Tetris or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna show it off. You know what I mean? Just while, because I'm good at puzzles, I promise. Okay, and this is a weird anomaly with this stupid game that this guy came up with. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna play while we watch your boy RC.
Red Shadow. What is
Red
that?
Shadow. We're gonna watch Red Shadow Games. It's your boy RC. What is up?
What is that?
What's up? It's your boy Red Shadow. Anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna watch this guy. If anybody responds during the premiere, I'm premiering episode 53. The awkward thing is it's also gonna be episode 54 at the same time, pretty much, and like like 1 minute. So I don't know how people are gonna square that, but anyway, so I'm not bad at puzzles, I promise, and I'll prove it to you. Watch. But yeah, we're gonna play on the
Something
game.
smells good near me.
Try to catch the light, and we're just gonna
70.
go for it. So we're gonna do type A. There's no scores, which is strange. Ding seems pretty simple. It's kind of slow. A slow game, huh? Ugh, so slow. The heck? I pushed down and went faster. Okay, so hold on. So we're gonna go here, obviously, and then we're gonna go here.
What?
This one's easy. This
The
one we can
fuck?
just go. So these blocks are falling from the sky. I'm not really sure why. Who did that? Who did this? Who did this? Stop it. It's your boy, Red Shadow. What is up? That's who did it. I made this game. I have $16 billion. I'm just doing this for fun. This one sucks because it's basically like we're losing a slot here. So we're gonna bam, hit it like that, and then another bad piece. So these shapes are all different. First of all, the score's going up. It says level 0.
Kind of rude.
And the lines are 0. And then, whoa, hold on, I just noticed something. Right here in the corner, it shows us our piece. It's gonna come next. So that one fell. This one looks like it fits right here perfect. Look at this. Watch. What's your boy RC? Hold on. He says, "What is your question?" I'm gonna say. Pause it for a second. So this guy's talking. We're gonna say. So if you guys can see this, you know what I mean. We've got some people chatting in the chat during my premiere of Pokemon Red, and it's like,
So this is all we are capable of right now.
whoa. You know,
To be honest.
but we are going to say something to him, and we're going to say, are you enough of a super fan to watch 2 episodes at once? We'll see what he says. And that's another cool part of this game. So we're going to check back here periodically.
I think we're good to just do this, lock this in.
And
I see no reason not to. I can always change the details of this later.
This is the Game Boy Pocket.
Okay.
As you can see, I can make it
Going on a quick errand.
like,
Shouldn't take me more than 20
this is
minutes.
so-
Time me right now.
A
If I'm not back in 20 minutes, something very bad happened.
The D-pad.
Something very bad happened if I'm not back in 20 minutes.
You tricked me, you know, by lulling me into a.
Okay, hold down the fort for me, though.
Making it difficult. They are difficult, okay? And I'm tired of pretending they're not. And get this creature Alphys telling me solutions to them, and he took it away. And now I'm stuck on my own. I really feel dumb. And look. Dang it. The deal is, we're not going to let
Hold the fort.
Let y'all see that. So this thing here, my red hair, that's what I call me really shit. What is right? It's red. You can see it in my bed. It's red. Bare shoulder. Oops, forgot to put a shirt on. So anyway, guys, so the interesting part of this is here's the volume here. That's where you put the link. It says EXT. This is a cable slot. So you can link up with people. Still trying to link up. And you can change the contrast on the screen. So you can make it completely light or completely dark. I don't know why it says contrast on this. I don't even know why I'm showing off the Game Boy Pocket, because this game came out in 1989. Tetris. It's a hit start to continue game. Score 136, level 0, lines 2. So let's keep playing. Russian man named Yuri Bezmenov. Am I getting that right? What looks best? Is it better high contrast or low contrast? For now, I just want you guys to see. You know what I mean? So he says, "How is that possible?" I'm thinking to myself, like, guys, you can't even handle one. And then here we're gonna say, I have to do it every day. So yeah, so this is Pokemon. It's premiering. I'm playing Pokemon Fire Red. You just saw me playing Undertale. I'm also playing that game. That will be premiering later tonight. So if you're seeing this, that will be premiering later tonight. You get to see me play that game. A little indie classic. And this is Tetris. Now, Tetris is the most famous puzzle game. I mean, I struggled to come up with a more famous
Must be held down.
I am going to do something unconventional here. I'm going to leave this here because I want to show something off. How many lines is Tetris again? So yeah, it's the most basic game. The most basic game.
The fort.
Because there's how many Tetris modes are there? I'm with. Hey, sorry to do this to you guys, but I do watch Pokemon myself. When I watch Pokemon, I have this Pokemon encyclopedia that I use to watch, when the newest ones come out. I'll show you guys that later. Oh, I put it in the wrong place. So we'll fix this. This is what we call fix. Tetris, if you're not that good at it, like I'm not, a lot of what Tetris is, when you really break it down, is just fixing your mistakes. This game is basically a perfect game. It was referred to by Matthew Matosis, who's really basically the inspiration for me for basically everything. So it was not Tetris, because there was a missing block. There's a missing block. So there's how many shapes? Let's see. There's the S and the Z, right? And this is the S. And here's another S, right? Because it looks like an S. And then the reverse of it is the Z, I think. And there's the square. That one is tough. Squares are always like, ugh. You know what I mean? Ugh. So this is saying, how's that going? He's saying, how's it going? He's saying, yep. I'm saying, and he's playing Tetris too. Think about it. And then this to this guy, okay, how's it going? So far, no good. All right. So here we go again. Tetris. It's so cool. You can pause it. We got start and select on this thing.
Shit.
Select is an often underappreciated button. It's one of my favorites. So yeah, this is the Game Boy Pocket. It's a little smaller and more sleek. The reason they call it pocket is you put it in your pocket. It's smaller and more sleek. I will show you guys that eventually. But yeah, so we're gonna do start to continue game here, and we're gonna grab this one. The reason I'm showing it off on this one instead of the original Game Boy, which was just called the Game Boy. Game Boy. It's a Game Boy. Boy. So what is this? What if we did that? What's that look like? What do you guys? What works best for you guys? I feel like catching the light just perfectly, and you can't see really any of the detail on the screen, huh? You can't really see any of the detail on the screen. You can kind of just barely tell what's going on. Also, holding this thing and having the reflection be a factor in my enjoyment of the game is kind of affecting my mental health, for lack of a better term. So I'm starting at 0, level 0, and so when you start at level 0, there's no pressure, because it's, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I like no pressure, but it ramps up. Okay, so this is a Z, because it's going the opposite direction, and we'll put it right here. This one is, see, I'm good at puzzles, guys. You think I'm stupid, but I'm really smart. I can beat Undertale and just kind of take a little break. Can you give me a break? So guys, we're kind of screwed here now, because we've put baby in a corner is basically how I put this. And you never put baby in a corner. We're gonna correct our mistake. We're gonna go all the way down here. Bam! Look at that. Now we leveled up. So now we're level 1. And I'm just clearing this out because I want to make sure we don't get too close to the top. So the block sequence is the I block, which I'm holding right now. This is sort of like the saving grace. This is the one you see. You're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I got an I block. We got a lot there, but no Tetris. I think Tetris is 5 rows altogether. This one's the T. As a result, it's sort of been the main block of the series, for lack of a better term. It's the default, because it's the T for Tetris. And then we have the L coming up. Here's the Z. We're gonna put the L right here. Now my friend here, he knows how to butter me up. In this one, he said, poor creature. Which I agree with a lot. If you want me to like you, just show me a little sympathy. That's kind of the whole thing. If you do that, then you basically have my heart, because I'm a sucker for it. Just a little sympathy. Okay, I think this is going to be Tetris. I think. Yep, you heard it there in the music. What looks best to you guys? Is it more or less contrasted? If it's like this, I don't know. So I got to pay attention now because we're at level 2. And yeah, so this Game Boy game, so this is a Game Boy. This is one of the Game Boys that I'm playing on right now. This is the Game Boy Pocket. It's sort of the advanced Game Boy. It's the most advanced Game Boy you can play on. It's not the most advanced in the whole Game Boy line because there's something called the Game Boy Advance. So, I mean, that would kind of trump or supersede this. In fact, maybe I'll even, now that I think about it, I might even show that off. Who knows what's going to happen tonight? For right now, we're cool with just doing it exactly like this. And so we got the L, the Z, the S, I guess it's the O. They're all supposed to be letters, right? For the S, the O, so we've leveled up once again. So what do the levels do? The levels increase the pace at which the blocks come down. I believe that's the only effect. And yeah, we have the L and the J, because it goes both ways. I think. Could be wrong about that. But anyway, Matthew Matosis, who if you have not checked out, and I will not do him any disservice by doing his voice, even though I want to, and I can do it perfectly. I have a perfect impression of him. He is sort of, to me, the guy when it comes to online game reviews. I mean, the guy just cares so much. He doesn't post often, but when he does, it's sort of like a real treat. And he called Tetris a perfect game. And I'm not inclined to disagree. This is true about this game because, as he points out, each block being 5 squares long, well, that's, that's the long and the short of it. They're each 5 squares long, so if they were any longer, or any shorter, it wouldn't work. The whole thing wouldn't work. You can go watch the video. It's 10 minutes. It's just him playing Tetris and talking about it for 10 minutes. I mean, he's got the best analysis on YouTube. I'm not even kidding. Okay. And then we got this going here. We're kind of backing ourselves into a corner. But anyway, so these blocks fall. They get faster and faster. If the blocks touch the top of the screen, you lose. Easy to understand, right? If you create a full row across, which let me count right now for the first time in my life, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks across. So if you can get 10 blocks in a row, that row goes away. If you leave any spaces, those spaces will stay. But Boop-a-dee-doo-doo. So now we're up to level 4. See, I'm good at this. Oh, okay. And then we're gonna move here, and we're gonna go here. So we really, it's ticking now. You see where I start at level 0? Okay, we're gonna go here, and dink, 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 bam, done. Okay, and oh, see, that was a mistake. Okay, now we're really gonna have to work hard to make this right. We are so close to this. Oh, this is really disastrous. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. RC. Your boy Red Shadow. Oh, that was a mistake. Okay, done. Okay, and it's done. Please try again. I mean, just turn it off, on the top. I mean, I don't know, guys. What do you think? Like, to be honest with you, like 100%. Oh, poor creature. I'm gonna say, finally. It's like, dude, finally, someone gets it. You know what I mean? Why isn't the screen? The screen has been paused the whole time. That doesn't look good. Where are we at now? Premiere. What's happening? It's too reflective, guys. This is too reflective. I'm too nervous about being seen in its view. So it's your boy Red Shadow. So what's he talking about? Premiere. So we're going live. What's he saying? Right. So he's taking notes essentially, and then it looks like here it's what can't he do? So we're all caught up. So guys, I want to keep playing Tetris while we're waiting here, because we're gonna do that. So I mean, this dude is taking notes. I mean, he's seriously actually taking notes on the game. See? Look at him. He's got like nice wrists. Do you know what I mean? He's got like nice wrists. Fire, like fire red. So yeah, we are. So once again, guys, I'm just in the mood to show off my Tetris skills. We played it last time. I'm gonna grab yet another piece of candy here. And we are playing on the Game Boy Advance SP. We are playing Pokemon Fire Red on that device. This game system came out so much further into the future than this one. And yet you see they're almost the same, modeled after each other. So many similarities. Can you shut up? I'm gonna shut this guy up. Shut up. Actually, let's go to his channel. He's kind of, I like him. But anyway, this one's coming up. We gotta have this open now because it's starting in 7 minutes. Let's see what he's saying. Anybody? No, that one's done. So we can close that. This is no longer a premiere. It's done. It's premiered. And then this one's still going, even though it's 53 and the other one's 54. Make that make sense to me. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, so he's playing Undertale right here. This guy, RC. Your boy, RC. Red Shadow, what is up? Okay. But I'm kind of stuck. So I just figured, like, what would be a better way of spending some time with you than than being a baller and playing, you know, Tetris. Okay, and this game is a Game Boy game. These are both Game Boy systems, but this Game Boy system, can you stop it? It's my keyboard. It's like everything in my life is broken. By the way, it has a defect or scratch or whatever. Okay, and so as you can see, he's also playing Undertale. He's playing Undertale, Pokemon, and now Tetris. And Tetris is a neat little puzzle game. It's maybe the most addicting, simple. It's the perfect game. Now I could pop this in, and just to show it off, I will. This system, this Game Boy Advance system, it can also play Game Boy games. Unbelievably, it can also play Game Boy and Game Boy Color games. You can even set how big you want the screen here, you know, it juts out at the bottom. You can play it, you know, and now you see it, and not only do you see it in glorious color. And I could play it right now like this, or like this. It lets you, and there was no L and R on that Game Boy, so you couldn't, you know, there was no thing, so it's like, okay, there's no L and R. Well, this is the aspect ratio you would be seeing it at if you were playing on the Game Boy, but you want more screen, buddy? Here's your little screen. Here's your other little screen, you know? Or maybe it's matching the screen of this. No, this is definitely minor. Yeah, so it's fine, like, okay. Game Boy, oh, here's the intro. This is someone who's playing Tetris, having a good time. I wouldn't have done that. No, I wouldn't have made that move. No, this guy's stupid. No, stupid. Dummy. Nice try. Yeah. Okay, cool, man. Cool. You did 5, whatever. Yeah, if you get 5, what's that, 5? I think if you get a 5 by 5, you get Tetris. But, you know, whatever. We could play it on the SP. If you guys want me to, I can, but can I show you guys this cool glass? Look at this cool glass. Look at this. It's got a friggin' raptor claw, but I've been waiting to show this off to you guys for a minute. I hope it's not too shocking to you, because if it is, just turn off the video. But so this is a Asus gaming specific monitor. It's set to be easy on the eyes, so when I'm gaming, I wanted to play on this one. But I need a second, you know, but you want 2 displays, because you probably want something here and something here. And most people have 2 monitors, but I've mentioned this before. I have a Toshiba. Where are the other shooting them? Finished already, but Undertale is starting now. So anyway, guys, I really sort of just basically glossed over the whole Game Boy family systems. We'll do a whole showcase of them one day. And if you're just joining us, we are waiting on Undertale to start. RC's late, as always, and we're watching Undertale here, and he's stuck. He's stuck in a infinite loop. But you can pick up the glass like this. The raptor claw. I got it from the Museum of Los Angeles. Oh, hold on. It says the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles. History. And I saw this and I was like, okay, that's baller. Wham bam, stank you bam. I'll take 2. I only got 1 though. But you know, I'm a member. I can go back whenever I want. For free. Well, not for free, but I paid. There's water. If only there was a way to show you the game in a way that's more palatable, because I could do this. I don't really like, what I'm gonna do, hold this here, show off my beautiful red hair again, show you that I'm shirtless again. No, that's gratuitous. We don't do that here. We're not gratuitous. What we're gonna do is, luckily, my second monitor is a TV. We have this thing. Now you're thinking, wait a minute, RC, what is that? I'm like, I don't know, but I just put it with all this wet. So we'll take these underwear that are on the ground, and we're gonna put the underwear on the table, and we're just gonna wipe it. Wipe it just a little bit, and then we're gonna throw the underwear behind our head. And we're gonna plop this right down here. And we're gonna work, so this is what's known as a Super Nintendo Entertainment System. That's what it was called in the United States. It's not called that in other places. And if you can believe it, even though the system came out in, I believe, 1991, which is close to when this one came out, because the original Game Boy came out in 89. This one came out, well, look, it's starting. That's good. This one came out, let me close this one now too. This one came out, what are all my critters saying? Left, down, down, left, 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 down, down, up, left, up. 44 minutes ago. Now this is Fungus handle, and that makes me subscribe to him right away. I'm not gonna look at that again. I'm gonna obviously respond to this, and I'm gonna say, hold on, because honestly, I tried up, down, down, left, right. Why is this saying why is this highlighted it? Because it's doubled? And then here's what we'll do. We'll do channel equals red. Wait, this is the video, right? Wait, what's on YouTube? Forget this. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I want this specific video. Speech bubble PNG, Undertale box art, how to make it so people's names don't show up in Steam. Gabriel painting, Gmail, Route 25 Conto. Isn't that the same thing in the box? Did we lose this? Comment? Yeah. What is the Konami code again? It's up, down, right, up, down, down, left, right, start. All right, keep your secrets. Here we go. So we're doing Konami code, because this is up, down, down, left, right. See, look, it's double. I'm so glad I looked up. I worked with like such a fool. So we go up. See, look. I tried up, down, down, left, right, and that didn't work. So come help me out. I'm live right now. Send the link. Appreciate you, buddy. Fungus handle. Now that's a user I could get behind. So anyway, this is the Super Nintendo. I don't want to get too into the weeds on what this is right this minute. But I have something interesting to show you. So we are going to leave the chat window up here to, leave the chat window there. And this computer is plugged in to this this monitor and then this TV. And it is a television. Now, if you were playing the Super Nintendo when they came out, you wouldn't be playing on a flat screen. In fact, you wouldn't be playing on a non-cathode ray tube TV at all. And I really thought about putting a cathode ray tube TV on my desk right now. I could put one to honor the, cheers, guys. The sanctity of the original hardware. But just for now, and just for Tetris, while we're watching Undertale premiere, because we've just finished Pokemon, oh look at him, he's busting a move here. Oh, he's already lost half his health and he just started. But anyway, while we have to leave this window open and watch this because it's premiering right now, we can't risk add emoji. We're gonna just do a heart just to see if anyone's around. Just trying to share my love. So anyway, I have a solution to the problem of having to hold the Game Boy up. As much as I'd like to play this thing, man, as much as I'd like to, because I think it's a cool system. The contrast thing, it really rustles my jimmies. You know what I mean? But yeah, we want to play Tetris, okay? But we don't want to have to hold a Game Boy. And sure, we can play it on the SP, but man, I've got something even better than that. So what's cool about this system, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, is we can actually play Tetris on it. And you're thinking, hold on.
Hey, sweets. Sorry about that. I'm back now. Let's get started, huh?
Easy. Oh.
Give me a break.
That's way better.
I'm wishing for the one I love to find me.
I don't think so. But we have a cool device. And that is
that I'm dreaming of
separately.
today.
Put this in. This is a cartridge. Just like any.
Oh, we've met before. Don't you remember? Once upon a dream. I know you. I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you. That gleam in your eyes is so familiar. A gleam, yes, I know. It's true that visions are seldom what they seem. But if I know you, I know what you'll do. You'll love me at once, the way you did once upon a dream. If I know you, I know what you'll do. You'll love me at once, the way you did once upon a dream. But don't you remember? We've met before. Once upon a dream. I know you. I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you. That gleam in your eyes is so familiar a gleam. Yes, I know it's true that visions are set to what they seem. But if I know you, I know what you do. You love me at once, the way you did once upon a dream. Da 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 da. If I know you, I know what you do. Okay, let's get it started, huh, folks? Sorry about that. Just had to do a little errand. Yeah, I just had a little errand to do. You know when you have to run just a little errand? I think everybody knows that feel when you have to run just a little errand. Just a small errand. I actually believe that's not Cinderella. That's actually Sleeping Beauty. I believe. I think Cinderella. You're thinking Cinderella is more along the lines of "So this is love." Mm-hmm. Unless you're talking about the Roger and Hammerstein Cinderella, which is that really good song that everybody loves, which is called. That one's called. That one's like. In the arms of my love, I'm flying over heaven and meadow and land. My head started screaming, you gave me a feeling, in the arms of, that's called concern trolling, I believe. What Jiminy K is doing, I believe, is called concern trolling. I don't think Jiminy K quite gets what the show's about. As much as I like Jiminy K, as much as I like Jiminy K, he's just a little bit too concern trolly sometimes. It's what we call a concern troll. Somebody who says something that sounds like he's being nice, but he's actually being mean. Jiminy K gives me kind of like homeschool vibes, which is usually a good thing. Let's get it started, huh? Let's get the show on the road. Premiere's done. Just finished Pokemon 79, which is crazy to think about. That's just absolutely insane. Pokemon 79. Remember when it was 1? I mean, I don't even know what to say sometimes. So let's go to load game. We've got all styles, and look, boom, we're in the room. Everybody who all the doubters thinking we weren't going to get in the room are in complete shambles. Don't be embarrassed about that. See? Now, does this act as a way up? It does. I was wondering how we were going to get out of the beautiful room. That was the only weird part I was thinking about. We're so full up on ammo, we don't even need this. We got some of it, but we had to leave a couple of them on the table. Oh. There's nothing in this room but this guy. You know what? You don't ever need to doubt me again. That's the lesson here. And look, Red's #1 fan, Daniel Morphin, he doubted for 1 second, and now look at him. Okay, so I actually got to be careful here because technically, we could really screw up here. Oh shoot, it actually wasn't straw poll anymore. I just noticed. It's actually randomized, winning by like a lot. So the compromise I'm going to do is we're going to make this a kind of a short section. I think that's a good compromise. And then we'll randomize next up. So I'm just getting the lay of the land here in this little crevasse. Keep in mind, we're walking over the... Gosh, I wish I could shoot these guys through here. Can you? You could shoot them through here. That's hilarious. I got him through the grating. That's one less guy we got to think about once we get to this part. Oh. You know what? You know what? Go ahead and kill me. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, shoot me. Anytime you're ready, pal. That was my bad, guys. I just didn't, I mean, after we just got to the room and everything and da-da-da-da-da, like, I just didn't want to, you know. But my question is, if we never made it into this room, could we have said we completed Half-Life, yes or no? If we never saw this guy on the ground? I don't know. But anyway, let's head back up. You gave me the feeling the room had no ceiling or floor. Okay, do not get me started singing. Who's got me started singing now? Who's got me started singing? Somebody is egging me on to sing the whole thing. In the arms of my love, I'm flying. Okay. Over heaven and meadow and land. Anyway. And then this is, I don't know about this part here. I'm not sure. I don't know where to enter from. That's the only problem. Because if I'm not mistaken, this is the way we came through. It seems that we're kind of like locked in because I don't think I could make it back up that way. Oh, please. I know every show tune, sweetie. Sweetie, I know every show tune, sweetie. Trust me, I know every show tune. What is this part? Oh, wait a minute. Storage area 1. We got double shotties. Shotty yaddy, shotty yaddy. Give me the feeling I may never come down to earth again. Does anyone understand the mechanics of the shotgun? Who understands the mechanics of the shotgun? I do not. Oh! I know it's so cheap to do this, but how dare these guys behave the way they do in this game, you know?
They just suck to fight. So there we go. Oops, sorry, did I get it stuck? I didn't mean to. Is the implication that we should only be using this? What would you call that? I mean, we have a resident expert here, so maybe I should ask him. Is this what kind of firearm is this? Would you say, Mr. Daniel Morphin? The room had no sheeting or floor. Do we go back through the part that is the part that we didn't do yet, or? Like, oh, did I get it stuck in your head? Sorry. M4, M16, I see. M16. I wonder how I picked up so many rounds for it. That's the part that I don't get. I'm plumb stuck. I'm not quite sure which room to enter into. M16. Because it's not here. Black Mesa announcement system now under military command. It's not here. This is the fan room. We cannot go down there. There's no way. Unless you slip through right here. Nah. Look at the man. Can't go this way. Oh, I can't believe we found the room. Remember that? I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you right now, Daniel, if anybody ever doubts me on the show, you could just be like, remember the room. That's all you have to say. If anybody ever doubts me on the show, just be like, remember the room. In the arms of my boy. Yeah, this has got a... Did he kill himself? I think he killed himself. Pretty sure. Yeah. I think he's done for. I don't get what to do. Like this is the area we came through before. We can't jump, like skip, hop, jump over this way, right? Can we? Is there a weak point in the system that I didn't understand or couldn't figure out? Like, hello? And it's not here. And it's not here. You can't go get this again, but I mean, there's not that much of a point. I hate that these are on the same tab. I wish you could change that, but like, this is that room. from the other side. But like, wait a minute. There's no way this is the solution. But, is there a way of like jumping off of this and then crouching? I don't think so. Is it? Can you do this? No. I don't think you can get up here. No problem, buddy. I just can't figure out what to do. Genuinely. No fooling. I don't want to even tempt this again after everything we've done. Like, there's no point in doing this. We can't jump up there. This is the only way to go now. We're stuck in this. So let's just analyze every single inch of this until we can... It's not here, I don't think. Because, look, where would you get out? You can't break these. Not that that would help. Yeah, never forget the room, guys. Never forget the room, as long as you live. If that's not proof to always bet on red, I don't know what is. So it's not there. It's not there. It's not there. It's not here. Just checking like these panels on the side. You can't break this, no matter what you do. Can't break that. You can't break this. These don't open. It seems like jumping up here would make sense, but you can't. Unless you could do like a little silly like double hop up. No. Can't break the gate. Can't go under here. Then going back this way, the only thing to do is to yeah, let's do that. Let's do that next. Blow that up. I'm just checking all the walls. Wait, hold on. Here we go. No, this is the room. Well, we can over here. Yeah, I mean, unless I'm being silly, it doesn't seem like... Those are his lungs. This doesn't open. Famously, this doesn't open. I believe this is what we refer to as plumb stuck, because this is not obviously the way to go, because this is the whole point of why we couldn't get into this room in the first place. It's a fairly simple setup, so there's something really obvious that we're missing. This does not work. Biological chemical alert. Does this make me look stupid when I can't figure this kind of stuff out? Or am I Am I okay? I mean, like, hold on a minute. You can't go under it. You can't go over it. Like, if we could just go up here, we could get back down into this part. I'm plumb stuck. Like, if I could jump up here, it would work. But it doesn't work. Even though it looks like it almost should. Can't open this or break it. Remember when I had grenades? Remember that? It's like so close to working. Does anyone know where to go in this part? Like, what? This is not, don't tell me if you do. I have to figure out everything on my own, but maybe is there a way to stop the fan? Or is there has to be some sort of something I'm not seeing. No, don't tell me even if you did know, like, there's a huge difference. If you're guessing along with me, that's one thing. If you know and you just tell me, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Let's go. Wait, hold on. No, this goes all the way. You can't. Can you? No. Can you activate this? No, just check. I mean, might as well. Just got a lot of ammo, so. Well, it just. Speaking of the fan, this is the fan, and it obviously. Wait, look, there's a hole there. You can't. Can you bait this? Can you go in that little hole right there to get down? No, because how would you? Just checking. Oh, we figured it out. Oh man, can you do this? Oh well, that's stupid. I'm sorry I didn't see that, guys. Well, hold on, wait a minute, because sorry, guys. Oh. Can I get back? Okay, so you can slip through the fan thing. I don't know. I don't know about that one, guys. My bad. Can you? No. Okay. So then this is the only way to go. All right. Let's get out of here. My bad. Sorry, guys. Hey, look, a guy.
Well, so much for the government. Their idea of containment is to kill everyone associated with the project. Judging from your hazard suit, I'd say you were part of what went wrong. Isn't that right? Now look, if anyone can end this catastrophe, it's the science team in the Lambda complex at the opposite end of the base. With the transit system out, I couldn't tell you how to get there. But there's an old decommissioned rail system somewhere through here, beyond the silo complex. If you can make it through the rocket test lab, you might be able to worm your way through the old tunnels to track down whatever's left of the Lambda team. You can trust them. You can trust all. Good luck.
Thank you, buddy. In case you didn't get a shotgun, here's your chance to get a shotgun. Look, now we can get through this way. So as much as I'd like to get through this way, I want to go back because we kind of needed to check out like one more thing here, which was we didn't look up. Well, hold on. We came from down there, so we got to check one more thing. Man, Daniel phone ringing off the hook. Daniel's too popular. We're going to check what's up here. Nothing. Right. How dare I check? It was kind of stupid. I mean, I would go back and show you, but it would take time. For some reason, I didn't notice that the fan, you mentioned the fan, and I didn't, went to just check out, see if I could stop it or something, but it looked like, when was the last load we did? It looked like we couldn't slip through the fan rotation, but then we did. We slipped through. We were able to slip through the fan rotation. So it's a little embarrassing that I didn't notice that we could do that. I just thought it was instant death if you got near it. All right, let's, so now it's telling us we have to get to the other end of the facility. All right, follow me, pal. Why?
I certainly hope you know what you're doing. I'm going to stay here.
Okay, whatever. Blast pit. Let's save the game right now. Save. Technically, it's still we've got hostiles, so how about we'll stop it when we're on a new thing. So let's leave it here for now. It was kind of my fault for starting the wrong thing. So let's correct that mistake. That was so stupid that I didn't notice the fan, but thank you for joining me, and we'll be starting right away. Okay, let's not waste any time here. We're gonna do a fun little game. I don't know if you've ever tried this, Daniel, but it's called the randomization picker game. And we have this neat little sundial, and sorry, it's not a sundial, it's an hourglass. And we've turned it over, and then you have the amount of time that's left on this hourglass to try and guess which one of the random games that we are currently playing is going to be the game that we're going to play next. So last time it landed on Super Mario Galaxy, but it has just as much of a chance of being Super Mario Galaxy as it does any of the other options. So you guess which one be, if you guess it right, you do get a prize. So give it your best shot. It is a 1 out of 8 chance, which is you got a pretty good chance. 1 out of 8 are pretty good odds. But remember, the house always wins. So you let me know what you think it's going to be, guys. Which one of these 8 options will it be? I'm not rooting for any of them in specific, obviously. But if I were, you know what I mean? But yeah. So why don't you just let me know which one you think it's going to be? Could be any of these options. You have until the hourglass runs out. You got about 20 seconds left before we decide which one it's going to be. Oh, I'm so happy. Say hi to your granddaughter for me. Hope she's doing well. All right, Daniel, give it your best shot. Which of these options do you think it's going to be? About 10 seconds left. All right, let's roll the dice here. No way. All right, let's play some Punch Out. We still have not lost a match, and I'm looking to continue that streak. Oh, and then we're going to be fighting a Canadian today. So we're sort of, it's representative of America. You know what I mean? We're representing one in this corner, we're representing America. In the other corner, we're representing Canada. So they're waiting for some punch out action. I hope that suits your guys' fancy. We're slowly making our way through Punch Out here. I'm looking forward to getting it off the list. It's not a bad game by any means. It just barely isn't exactly what I want it to be. I'll be able to talk. The game is so action heavy that I can't really discuss it while I'm playing. More do it like in between rounds and stuff. But let's go ahead and set it up, set the whole thing up. It's fun. It's a fun little game here that you get to experience because you're in control. You're the one controlling Little Mac in his adventure to punch everybody out, which is interesting. So let's start her up. Let's start it up. And what do we need for this? We need, we're going to just go ahead and turn this on. Switch the disc around. Take out Super Mario Galaxy, throw in Punch Out. Get started, if you know what I mean. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Does everyone understand? Does everyone get it at this point? Does everyone know what's going on? Do I have to explain anything to anybody? Well, that's good, Daniel. It means that they must be high quality. So that makes me happy. If Daniel likes them, then that means they must be good. All right, let's start up Punch Out. This is a boxing game, so let me warm up a little bit. Come on now. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. So this is interesting. Now we're going to be fighting a Canadian, which is scary. It's always scary touching these guys. I don't want to touch these guys with my fists. Bunch of animals. Didn't mean to skip the intro there. All right, let's start our profile. We've already beat the first circuit, and now we're going to continue on our career and fight Bear Hugger. Now he's 6'3", and he is from, he's 32. He's from Salmon Arm, British Columbia, Canada, which is interesting. And his record's 17-12. And he's had 10 knockouts. Now, I want to take a note, just a quick note of a couple of his stats here. We have the fact he's 440 pounds. So that's interesting. And he's 6'3". Now, I'd just like to ask the people at home, if you don't mind, what would the BMI of somebody who's 6'3" and 440 pounds be? Does anyone know? What would the BMI of somebody who is that be? Let's see what his thing is. Now he's number 2, we're number 3. And we're 17 years old, keep in mind. Up. 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 So he's been trained by bears. So keep that in mind. It always takes me 1 minute to remember the control. Oops. Ooh! 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 Oh, what do you gotta do for that? When he comes up over the top like that, I'm not sure. Okay. Oh. I think you gotta dodge, but just not like that. There we go. Oh, dang, I keep messing that up. Shoot, this is off to a bad start. All right, let's knock him out. Oh, what is that move? Oh my gosh. How do you avoid that? Now keep in mind, he's from Canada, which is where Bingo Panda is from. Just making sure everyone knows that. But he's from British Columbia, not Alberta. We've got 3 seconds left in this round. That was a bad... He says, I have the strength of a bear. That's good. And I've noticed, Doc. I've noticed. Now I'm going to rehydrate myself in between this round. Just make sure you drink some water, guys. So this guy, doctors hate him. So this guy is, just a quick question for some of our people in the chat. So this guy is, let's just have a quick session here. So if this guy is 6'3" and 440 pounds, what would his BMI be? Also, he's sleeping right now. He's sleeping. And he said, wait, hold on. I just want to hear what he's saying. What does he say? Ravraka Bringraga? Is he saying Ravraka Bringraga? Listen to this guy for a second. Yeah, this guy's 10 years old, I think. So this guy's 440. If this guy's 440 and he's 6'3", I think that makes his BMI about 41. What is he actually saying though, for real? What is he actually saying? What is he saying? What is he talking about? For Fracken Frigraga? What does that mean? For Fracka Frigagen. Listen to this guy. For Fracka Frigagen. What does that mean? What is he talking about? For Fracka Frigagen. What is for Fracka Frigagen? What is he saying? For Fracka Frigagen? So guys, I'm not going to lie to you. That round went really bad. I also don't know how to defeat him when he's going to do the double move like that. Other than blocking. Can you go down like this? I forget. We need the strength of Little Mac himself to win. Okay? Is he saying for Fracka Frigagen? What is he talking about? Okay, let's find it. Here's round 2, baby. Now, he drank maple syrup. He said he burped. Okay. Oh, what do we do about that? What do we do about that? Genuinely. Oh, that sucks. That move sucks for us. Oh, we did it again. Oh, okay. I don't know what to do about that move. I think we just lost for the first time. No, we didn't. This is the last time we're going to get up, though. Oh, you can dodge down. I forgot. Well, that solves it. Oh, I forgot! Our first loss. Well, yeah, but what if I do this, though? Bet you didn't see that coming. It's just between me and you. Nobody else needs to know. Who needs to know about that? It's cheap anyway. He's saying for Frack Frigagen. That's against the rules of boxing. So I'm not gonna let that happen. Yep, we won. So anyway, that was cheating, obviously. So let's restart into a different modality where he's not cheating. Obviously, that didn't count. So that one didn't count at all. You know what? You know what happened is my controller actually ran out of batteries. See, look, it's So I had to turn it off because my controller ran out at the wrong time. So we gotta. That was. Don't worry about it. That was so. I'm also I'm not wearing my glasses. Also, my little brother was playing. What else? There was other stuff too. I'm wearing the wrong shirt. My pants are too tight. Trust me, that's the only time we're ever going to lose in this one. And it's only because nobody would tell me what he was saying when he was on the ropes. So that didn't count. Obviously, that didn't count. That's never gonna happen again. So that was just a one. Wait, hold on. You get to continue in the arcade, but you don't get to continue in this game? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I'm just correcting the record. Plus, we skipped the intro. That was the problem. If we skipped the intro, that was just practice. Right? So. Okay. Now I'm actually ready to start. That was just a warm up. So. Don't worry about it. That one was nothing. So. Yep. There we go. Yep. See, it all makes sense now. He's 32. This guy. Now his chest hair is in the shape of a pine tree, I think. Oops. Well, that didn't count, obviously. Oh. There we go. Genuinely, y'all? Oh. Wait, where did my star go, bro? Honestly. Ah, oh, dang it. See, that didn't count. I didn't know what he was saying before. How does that count? How does that count at all? So that was just don't tell anybody about this part. Oh, I mean, I knew that one. Oh, I forgot. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's cheating. He's cheating again. He's cheating again. He's cheating. He said I like raw fish. Yep. Now he's saying rough frog or big frog. Now watch this. Now watch this. Now he burped. Does it matter where you hit them on their body? Like in the head or on the body? I don't know. I didn't know he was gonna go for that, bro. Get up, bitch. He said, give me a hug. What the fuck did you just say, bitch? Yep. Yep, first try too. That's unbelievable. First try. First try, wow. What? He's gonna use chocolate bar sideways. So that was it. We won the first try and everything, which is so crazy to think about that we won the first try, but you know. So now we gotta fight this guy. Next time. So first we fight, wait, so hold on. So first we fight where Bingo Panda is from, and then we fight Bingo Panda himself? Interesting. Things are really developing on this show. No, that was the controller the whole time. That was the controller. That was seriously the first try I ever did it, so it makes sense that I'm so good at it. All right, so let's see, it's 50-50 randomize. Randomize otherwise. So, in cases like this, where it's 50-50, I feel like there's only one thing to do! So I feel like there's only one thing to do in these kinds of scenarios. I feel. So there's only, when there's situations like this, there's really only one thing to do, honestly. And that's if you're really asking me, there's only one thing to do when there's this kind of a situation, and that's you got to do one of the oldest tricks in the book, list randomizer, and then you gotta wait. Has there been any change in this? No, it's still the same. So, we're still looking at the same options, but you just go to randomize, and you go to straw poll, right? Straw oil, right? And you see what comes up first. Right, and it's randomized again. So, does everybody see that? Let me show you that. Yeah. So it's randomized again, and so now everybody guess what it's going to be. So just tell me what you think it's going to be, and if you get it right, you do get a prize. So try and figure it out. Try and figure it out if you can, man. If you can. Try and figure it out if you can. If you can. And if you can't, sorry. So just try and figure this one out. So that was a controller. That last game was a controller problem. Sigh. So what do we all think, guys? What are we all thinking? What do we think it's going to be, guys? Who wants the prize? 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 Let's see. It's about 10 seconds left. We were so close, look. I mean, not that I care. And done. What? How did we get that result? How did we get that result? How did we get that result? That's kind of fun, huh? It's kind of a funny idea. Are we getting tired of the tier lists? Should we do another reading of the book? I feel like we should do another reading of the book because we got to get through that eventually. So let's do that, huh? I believe we were on chapter 8, which is a very interesting chapter. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is one of the more interesting chapters of the book. So let's give it a little look. Let's give it a once over. See if it matches with our preconceived notions. How do we like the book so far? It is quite. I'm going to get a little bit of water before we start, just to wet my whistle, just to make sure that I have enough liquidation to get through the rest of this. But let's trudge on through the rest of this. Just give me a second, okay, guys? I'm just gonna get some more water, and then we'll start the reading. Okay, just a little bit of water. Just a little bit of water for the reading. I was thinking tier list. I mean, if somebody stopped me right now and said, "No, we want a tier list," I would do it, or something. You know, another idea. But in absence of any other ideas, let's just do this. But if you guys can come up with a better idea, I mean, the thing is we gotta write this. The script for the Counter-Strike review is not done. I've been working on it. It's really hard to write a script for Counter-Strike. I mean, I run into this roadblock where it's like I genuinely. I mean, I don't even know some of the terms because I've just not played it enough. But we do have to write that. So, y'all let me know. But I've been enjoying it so far. In spirit. If I come back to my desk, I don't see a better idea. It's going to be this, no matter what. See? This is what happens. So if you hate this, then you better figure out how to jump in a little bit faster. Anyway, Chapter 7, Black and White Jacksons, a meeting on the outskirts, Whitneyville Colts, a trial, the judge among disputants, Delaware Indians, the Vandy Melanator, the Vandy Menlader, the Vandy Menlander, the Vandy Menlander, a hacienda, a town of Corralitos, pasajeros de un paz antiguo, scene of a massacre, Hiccius Docius, a naming of fortunes, wheelless upon a dark river, the felon wind, tertium quid quid, the town of Janos, Glanton takes a scalp, Jackson takes the stage. In this company there rode two men named Jackson, one black, one white, both forenamed John. Bad blood lay between them, and as they rode up under the barren mountains, the white man would fall back alongside the other and take his shadow for the shade that was in it and whisper to him. The black would check or start his horse to shake him off. As if the white man were in violation of his person, had stumbled onto some ritual dormant in his dark blood or his dark soul, whereby the shape he stood the sun from on that rocky ground bore something of the man himself, and in so doing lay in peril. The white man laughed and crooned things to him. It sounded like the words of love. All watched to see how this would go with them, but none would caution either back from his course, and when Glanton looked to the rear along the column from time to time, he seemed to simply reckon them among his number and ride on. Earlier that morning, the company had met in a courtyard behind a house on the outskirts of the city. Two men carried from a wagon stenciled ordnance box from the Baton Rouge arsenal, and the Prussian Jew named Spader pried open the box with a pritchel and a shoeing hammer and handed up a flat package in brown butcher paper translucent with grease like a paper of bakery goods. Glanton opened the package and let the paper fall to the dirt. In his hand he held a long-barreled six-shot Colt's patent revolver. It was a huge sidearm meant for dragoons, and it carried in its long cylinders a rifle charge and weighed close to 5 pounds loaded. These pistols would drive the half-ounce conical ball through 6 inches of hardwood, and there were 4 dozen of them in the case. Spader was breaking out the gang molds and flasks and tools, and Judge Holden was unwrapping another of the pistols. The men pressed about. Glanton wiped the bore and chambers of the piece and took the flask from Spader. "She's a stout looker," said one. He charged the bores and seated a bullet and drove it home with the hinged lever pinned to the underside of the barrel. When all the chambers were loaded, he capped them and looked about. In the courtyard, other than merchants and buyers, were a number of living things. The first that Glanton drew sight upon was a cat that at that precise moment appeared upon the high wall from the other side as silently as a bird alighting. It turned to pick its way among the cusps of broken glass set upright in the mud masonry. Glanton leveled the huge pistol in one hand and thumbed back the hammer. The explosion in that dead silence was enormous. The cat simply disappeared. There was no blood or cry. It just vanished. Speyer glanced uneasily at the Mexicans. They were watching Glanton. Glanton thumbed back the hammer again and swung the pistol. A group of fowl in the corner of the courtyard that had been pecking in the dry dust stood nervously, their heads at varied angles. The pistol roared, and one of the birds exploded in a cloud of feathers. The others began to trot mutely, their long necks craned. He fired again. The second bird spun and lay kicking. The others flared, piping thinly, and Glanton turned with the pistol and shot a small goat that was standing with its throat pressed to the wall in terror, and it fell stone dead in the dust. He fired upon a clay garaffa that burst in a shower of potsherds and water. That he raised the pistol and swung toward the house and rang the bell in its mud tower above the roof. A solemn tolling that hung on in the emptiness after the echoes of the gunfire had died away. A haze of gray gunsmoke lay over the courtyard. Glanton set the hammer at half-cock and spun the cylinder and lowered the hammer again. A woman appeared in the doorway of the house, and one of the Mexicans spoke to her, and she went in again. Glanton looked at Holden, and then he looked at Speyer. The Jew smiled nervously. They ain't worth no $50. Speyer looked grave. What's your life worth? He said. In Texas, 500. But you'd have to discount the note with your ass. Mr. Riddle thinks that's a fair price. Mr. Riddle ain't paying it. He's putting up the money. Glanton turned the pistol in his hand and examined it. I thought it was agreed, said Speyer. Ain't nothing agreed. They were contracted for the war. You'll not see their like again. Not till some money changes hands, it ain't agreed. A detachment of soldiers, 10 or a dozen of them, entered from the street with their arms at the ready. ¿Qué pasa aquí? Glanton looked at the soldiers without interest. Nada, said Speyer. Todo va bien. Bien. The sergeant was looking at the dead birds, the goat. The woman appeared at the door again. Está bien, said Holden. Negocios del gobernador. The sergeant looked at them, and he looked at the woman in the door. Somos amigos del señor Riddle, said Speyer. And I, said Glanton. You and your half-assed looking niggers. The sergeant stepped forward and assumed a posture of authority. Glanton spat. The judge had already crossed the space between them, and now he took the sergeant aside and fell to conversing with him. The sergeant came to his armpit, and the judge spoke warmly and gestured with great expansiveness of spirit. The soldiers squatted in the dust in their muskets and regarded the judge without expression. Don't you give that son of a bitch no money, said Glanton. But the judge was already bringing the man forward for a formal procession. Le presento al Sargento Aguilar, he called, hugging the ragged militant to him. The sergeant held out his hand quite gravely. It occupied that space and all the attention of all who stood there like something presented for validation, and then Speyer stepped forward and took it. Mucho gusto. Igualmente, said the sergeant. The judge escorted him from one to the next of the company, the sergeant formal and the Americans muttering obscenities or shaking their heads silently. The soldiers squatted on their heels and watched each movement in this charade with the same dull interest, and at length the judge hove up before the black. That dark, vexed face. He studied it, and he drew the sergeant forward, the better for him to observe, and he began a laborious introduction in Spanish. He sketched for the sergeant a problematic career of the man before them, his hands drafting with a marvelous dexterity the shapes of what very paths conspired here in the ultimate authority of the extant, as he told them, like streams drawn together through the eye of a ring. He adducted for their consideration references to the children of Ham, the lost tribes of Israelites, certain passages from the Greek poets, anthropological speculations as to the propagation of the races and their dispersion, and the isolation through the agency of geological cataclysm, and an assessment of racial traits with respect to climatic and geographical influences. The sergeant listened to this and more with great attention, and when the judge was done, he stepped forward and held out his hand. Jackson ignored him. He looked at the judge. What did you tell him, Holden? Don't insult him, man. What did you tell him? The sergeant's face had clouded. The judge took him about the shoulders and leaned and spoke into his ear, and the sergeant nodded and stepped back and saluted the black. What did you tell him, Holden? That shaking hands was not the custom in your land. Before that, what did you say to him before that? The judge smiled. It is not necessary, he said, that the principals here be in the possession of the facts concerning their case, for their acts will ultimately accommodate history with or without their understanding. But it is consistent with notions of right principle that these facts, to the extent that they can be readily made to do so, should find a repository in the witness of some third party. Sergeant Aguilar is just such a party, and any slight to his office is but a secondary consideration when compared to divergences in that larger protocol exacted by the formal agenda of an absolute destiny. Words are things. The words he is in possession of he cannot be deprived of. Their authority transcends his ignorance of their meaning. The black was sweating. A dark vein in his temple pulsed like a fuse. The company had listened to the judge in silence. A few smiled. A half-witted killer from Missouri guffawed softly like an asthmatic. The judge turned again to the sergeant, and they spoke together, and the judge and he crossed to where the crate stood in the courtyard, and the judge showed him to one of the pistols and explained its workings with great patience. The sergeant's men had ridden and stood waiting. At the gate, the judge doled coins into Aguilar's palm, and he shook hands formally with each ragged charge and complimented them upon their military bearing, and they exited onto the street. At noon that day, the partisans rode out, each man armed with a pair of pistols, and took the road up country as told. The outsiders returned in the evening, and the men dismounted for the first time that day, and recruited their horses in the sparse swall while Blanton conferred with the scouts. Then they rode on until dark and made camp. Toadvine and the veteran and the kid squatted at a small remote from the fires. They did not know that they were set forth in that company in the place of 3 men slain in the desert. They watched the Delawares, of whom there were a number in that party, and they too sat somewhat apart, crouched on their heels, one pounding coffee beans at a buckskin with a rock, while the others stared into the fire with eyes as black as gun bores. That night the kid could see one of them sort with his hand among the absolute embers for a ripe coal with which to light his pipe. They were about in the morning before daybreak, and they caught up and saddled their mounts as soon as it was light enough to see. The jagged mountains were pure blue in the dawn, and everywhere birds twittered, and the sun, when it rose, caught the moon in the west, so that they lay opposed to each other across the earth. The sun white hot, and the moon a pale replica, as if they were the ends of a common board beyond those terminals, burned worlds past all reckoning. As the riders came up through the mesquite and Puricantha, single file, and a light clank of arms and a chink of bit rings, and the sun climbed and the moon set, and the horses and the dew-soaked mules commenced to steam in flesh and in shadow. Toadvine had fallen in with a fugitive from Van Diemen's land named Bathcat, who had come west on leg bail. He was from Wales by birth, and he had but 3 fingers to his right hand and a few teeth. Perhaps he saw in Toadvine a fellow fugitive, an earless and branded felon who had chosen in life much as he. And he offered to wager as to which Jackson would kill which. I don't know them boys. What do you think then? Toadvine spat quietly to one side and looked at the man. I wouldn't want to bet, he said. Not a gaming man. Depends on the game. The blackie will do for. Take your odds. Toadvine looked at him. The necklace of human ears he wore looked like a string of dried black figs. He was big and raw looking, and one eyelid sagged where a knife had severed the small muscles there, and he was furnished with gear of every class, the fine with the shiny. He wore good boots, and he carried a handsome rifle bound with a German silver, but the rifle was slung in a cut-off bootleg, and his shirt was in tatters, and his hat rancid. "You've not hunted the Aborigines before," said Bathcat. "Who says it?" "I know it," Toadvine didn't answer. "You're fighting right lately." "So I hear." The Vandemanlander smiled. "Much has changed," he said. "When I first come to this country, there were savages up in the San Saba, and hardly seen white men. They come to our camp, and we shared our mess with them, and we couldn't keep their eyes off knives. Next day, we brought whole strings of horses into the camp to trade. We didn't know what they wanted. We had knives of their own, such as they was. But what if it was, you see, what they'd never seen soft bones of stew before?" Toadvine glanced at the man's forehead, but the man's hat was pushed down almost to his eyes. The man smiled and forked the hat back slightly with his thumb. The print of the hat band lay on his forehead like a scar, but there was no mark of it. Only on the inside of his lower arm was there tattooed a number which Toadvine could see in a Chihuahua bathhouse, and again when he would cut down the man's torso where it hung skewed by his heels from a tree limb in the waste of Primaria Alta in the fall of that year. They rode up through Choya and Nopal, a dwarf forest of spinned things, through a stone gap in the mountains, and down among blooming Artemisia and aloe. They crossed a broad plain of desert grass dotted with palmilla. On the slopes, there were gray stone walls that followed the ridge lines down to where they lay broached and tumbled upon the plain. They did not noon, nor did they siesta. At the cotton eye of the moon squatted at broad day in the throat of the mountains to the east, and they were still riding when it overtook them at its midnight meridian, sketching on the plain below a blue cameo of such dread pilgrims clanking. They spent the night in the corral of a hacienda where all night men kept watchfires burning on the azoteas or roofs. 2 weeks before this, a party of campesinos had been hacked to death with their own hoes and partially eaten by hogs while the Apaches rounded up what stock would drive and disappeared into the hills. Glanton ordered a goat killed, and this was done in the corral while the horses sheed and trembled at the flaring light of the fires, and the men squatted and roasted the meat and ate it with knives and wiped their fingers in their hair and turned in to sleep upon the beaten clay. At dusk of the third day, they rode into the town of Corralitos, the horses shuffling through the caked ash and the sun glaring redly through the smoke. The smelter chimneys were ranged against the ashen sky, and the goldy lights of the furnaces glowered under the dark of the hills. It had rained in the day, and the window lights of the low mud houses were reflected in pools along the flooded road, of which great dripping swine rose moaning before the advancing horses like oafish demons rounded from a fen. The houses were loopholed and parapeted, and the air was filled with the fumes of arsenic. The people had turned out to see the Texans, they called them, standing solemnly along the way and noting the least of their gestures with looks of awe, looks of wonder. They camped in the plaza, blackening the cottonwoods with their fires and driving forth the sleeping birds, the flames lighting up the wretched town to its darkest pens and bringing forth even the blind tottering with their hands outstretched towards that conjectural clay. Glanton and the judge, with the Brown brothers, rode out to the hacienda of General Zuloaga, where they were received and given their dinner, and the night passed without incident. In the morning, when they had saddled their mounts and were assembled in the square to ride out, they were approached by a family of itinerant magicians seeking a safe passage up country as far as Janos. Blanchard looked down at them from his place at the head of the column. Their goods were piled up in tattered panniers, lashed to the backs of 3 burros, and they were a man and his wife and a grown boy and a girl. They were dressed in fools' costumes with stars and half moons embroidered on and the once gaudy colors were faded and pale from the dust of the road, and they looked a set of right wanderfolk cast on this evil terrain. The old man came forward and took the bridle of Blanton's horse. "Get your hands off the horse," said Glanton. He spoke no English, but he did what he was told. He commenced to put forth his case. He gestured. He pointed back toward the others. Glanton watched him. Who knows if he heard at all? He turned and looked at the boy and at the 2 women, and he looked down at the man again. "What are you?" he said. The man held his ear towards Glanton and looked up with a mouth agape. "I said, what are you? Are you a show?" He looked back towards the others. "A show," said Glanton. "Buffones." The man's face brightened. "Sí," he said. "Sí, bufones, todo." He turned to the boy. "Casimiro, los perros." The boy ran to one of the burros and began to tug among the packings. He came up with a pair of bald and bat-eared animals slightly larger than rats and pale brown in color, and he pitched them into the air and caught them on the palms of his hands, where they began to pirouette mindlessly. "Mire, mire," called the man. He was fishing about in his pockets, and soon he was juggling 4 small wooden balls in the front of Glanton's horse. The horse snorted and lifted his head, and Glanton leaned over in the saddle and spat and wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. "Ain't that the drizzling shits?" he said. The man was juggling and calling back over his shoulder to the women, and the dogs were dancing, and the women were turning into the preparation of something when Glanton spoke to the man. "Don't start no more of that crazy shit. You want to ride with us, you fall on the back. I promise you nothing. Vámonos." He rode on. The company clanked into motion, and the juggler ran shooing the women towards the burros, and the boy stood wide-eyed with the dogs under his arm until the man spoke to him. They rode out through the rabble past great cones of slag and tailings. The people watched them go. Some of the men stood hand in hand like lovers, and a small child led forth a blind man on a string to a place of vantage. At noon, they crossed the stony bottom of the Casas Grandes River, and the men rode along the benchland above the gaunt rill of the water past a place of bones where Mexican soldiers had slaughtered an encampment of Apaches some years gone. Women and children, the bones and skulls scattered along the bench for half a mile, and the tiny limbs of toothless paper skulls of infants like the ossature of a small apes at their place of murder, and old remnants of weathered baskets and broken pots among the gravel. They rode on. The river led a lime green corridor of trees down out of the barren mountains. To the west lay the ragged Carcaj, and to the north the Animas peaks, dim and blue. They made camp that night on a windy plateau among Pythian and juniper, and the fires leaned downward in the darkness, and hot chains of sparks raced among the scrub. The jugglers unloaded the burros and began to set up a large gray tent. The canvas was scrawled with arcana, and it flapped and lurched, stood towering, luffed and wrapped them about. The girl lay on the ground, holding to one corner. She began to drag through the stand. The juggler took small steps. The woman's eyes were rigid and white. As the company watched, the 4 of them all clutched the snapping clockwork, towed mutely from sight beyond the reach of the firelight and into the howling desert like supplicants at the skirts of some wild and irate goddess. The pickets saw the tent lumber horribly away into the night. When the family of jugglers returned, they were arguing among themselves, and the man went again to the edge of the firelight and peered out upon the wrathful blackness and spoke to it and gestured with his fists, nor would he return until the woman sent the boy to fetch him. Now he sat staring at the flame while the family unpacked. They watched him uneasily. Glanton watched him also. "Gentlemen," he said. The juggler looked up. He put one finger to his chest. "You," said Glanton. He rose and shuffled forward. Glanton was smoking a slender black cigar. He looked up at the juggler. "You tell fortunes?" The juggler's eyes skittered. "Como?" he said. Glanton put the cigar in his mouth and mimed a deal of cards with his hand. "La baraja," he said. "Para adivinar la suerte." The juggler tossed one hand aloft. "Sí, sí," he said, shaking his head with vigor. "Toro, toro." He held up one finger and then turned and made his way to the trove of shoddy partly offloaded from the burros. When he returned, he was smiling affably and manipulating the cards very nimbly. "Venga," he called. "Venga." The woman followed him. The juggler squatted before Glanton and spoke to him in a low voice. He turned and looked at the woman, and he rifled the cards and rose and took her by the hand and led her over the ground away the fire and seated her facing out into the night. She swept up her skirt and composed herself, and he took from his shirt a kerchief and with it bound her eyes. "Bueno, ¿puedes ver?" "No." "Nada?" "Nada," said the woman. "Bueno," said the juggler. He turned with the deck of cards and advanced towards Glanton. The woman sat like a stone. Glanton waved him away. "Los caballeros," he said. The juggler turned. The black was squatting by the fire, watching when the juggler fanned the cards. He rose and came forward. The juggler looked up at him. He folded the cards and fanned them again and made a pass over them with his left hand and held them forth, and Jackson took a card and looked at it. "Bueno," said the juggler. "Bueno." He admonished caution with a forefinger to his thin lips and took the card and held it aloft and turned with it. The card popped once sharply. He looked at the company seated about the fire. They were smoking. They were watching. He made a slow sweep before him with the card outheld. It bore the picture of a fool in harlequin and a cat. "El tanto," he called. "El tanto," said the woman. She raised her chin slightly and she began a sing-song chant. The dark querent stood solemnly like a man arraigned. His eyes shifted over the company. The judge sat upwind from the fire, naked to the waist, himself like some great pale deity, and when the black eyes reached his, he smiled. The woman ceased. The fire fled down the wind. "Quien?" cried the juggler. She paused. "El negro," she said. "El negro," cried the juggler, turning with the card. His clothes snapped in the wind. The woman raised her voice and spoke again, and the black turned to his mates. "What does she say?" The juggler had turned and was making small bows to the company. "What does he say? Tell me." The ex-priest shook his head. "Idolatry, Blackie. Idolatry. Do not mind her." "What does she say, Judge?" The judge smiled. With his thumb, he had been routing small life from the fold of his hairless skin, and now he held up in one hand with the thumb and forefinger pressed together in a gesture that appeared to be a benediction until he flung something unseen into the fire before him. "What does she say? What does she say?" "I think she means to say that in your fortune lie our fortunes all." "And what is that fortune?" The judge smiled blandly, his pleated brow not unlike a dolphin's. "Are you a drinking man, Jackie?" "No more than some." "I think she'd have you beware the demon rum. Prudent counsel enough. What do you think?" "Well, that ain't no fortune." "Exactly so. The priest is right." The black frowned at the judge, but the judge leaned forward to regard him. "Wrinkle not thy sable brow at me, my friend. All will be known to you at last, to you as to every man." Now, a number of the company seated there seemed to weigh the judge's words, and some turned to look at the black. He stood an uneasy honoree, and at length he stepped back from the firelight, and the juggler rose and made a motion with the cards, sweeping them in a fan before him, and then proceeding along the perimeter past the boots of the men with the cards upheld as if they would find their own subject. "Quien, quien?" he whispered among them. They were right low all. When he came before the judge, who sat with one hand splayed across the broad expanse of his stomach, raised a finger and pointed. "Young Blasarius yonder," he said. "Como?" "El bien," whispered the juggler. He looked about him slowly with an air of mystery until he found with his eyes the one so spoken. He moved past the adventurers, quickening his step. He stood before the kid. He swatted with the cards and fanned them out with a slow rhythmic motion akin to the movements of certain birds at court. Una carta, he wheezed. The kid looked at the man, and he looked at the company about. "Si, said the juggler, offering him cards. He took one. He had not seen such cards before, yet the one he held seemed familiar to him. He turned it upside down and regarded it. He turned it back. The juggler took the boy's hand in his own and turned the card so he could see. Then he took the card and held it up. "Cuatro copas," he called out. The woman raised her head. She looked like a blindfolded mannequin raised awake by a string. "Cuatro copas," she said. She moved her shoulders. The wind went amongst her garments and her hair. "Viene," called the juggler. "El hombre," she said. "El hombre más joven. El muchacho," called the juggler. He turned the card for all to see. The woman sat like a blind intercutrix between Boaz and Joshing, inscribed upon the one card in the juggler's deck that they would not see come to light. True pillars and true card, false prophetess for all, she began to chant. The judge was laughing silently. He bent slightly the better to see the kid. The kid looked at Tobin and at David Brown, and he looked at Glanton himself, but they were none laughing. The juggler kneeling before him watched with a strange intensity. He followed the kid's gaze to the judge and back. When the kid looked down at him, he smiled, a crooked smile. "Get the hell away from me," said the kid. The juggler leaned his ear forward, a common gesture, and one that served for any tongue. The ear was dark and misshapen, as if in being put forth in this fashion it had suffered no few claps, or perhaps the very news men had for him had blighted it. The kid spoke to him again, but a man named Tate from Kentucky, who had fought with the McCulloch's Rangers, as had Tobin and the others among them, leaned and whispered to the ragged soothsayer that he rose and made a slight bow and moved away. The woman had ceased her chanting. The juggler stood flapping in the wind, and the fire lashed a long, hot tail over the ground. "Quien, quien?" he called. "Jefe," said the judge. The juggler's eyes sought out Glanton. He sat unmoved. The juggler looked at the old woman where she sat apart, facing the dark, lightly tottering, racing the night in her rags. He raised his fingers to his lips, and he spread his arms in a gesture of uncertainty. "El jefe," hissed the judge. The man turned and went along the group at the fire and brought himself before Glanton and crouched and offered up the cards, spreading them in both hands. If he spoke, his words were snatched away unheard. Glanton smiled. His eyes were small against the stinging grit. He put one hand forth and paused. He looked at the juggler. Then he took the card. The juggler folded shut the deck and tucked it among his clothes. He reached for the card in Glanton's hand. Perhaps he touched it. Perhaps not. The card vanished. It was in Glanton's hand, and then it was not. The juggler's eyes snapped after it where it had gone down the dark. Perhaps Glanton had seen the card's face. What could it have meant to him? The juggler reached out to that naked bedlam beyond the fire's light, but in the doing he overbalanced and fell forward against Glanton and created a moment of strange liaison with his old man's arms about the leader as if he would console him at his scrawny bosom. Glanton swore and flung him away. At that moment the old woman began to chant. Glanton rose. She raised her jaw, gibbering at the night. Shut her up, said Glanton. La carroza, la carroza, cried the beldam. Invertido, carta de guerra, de vinganza, la vi sin rodeas sobre un rio obscuro. Glanton called to her, and she paused as if she'd heard him, but it was not so. She seemed to catch some new drift in her divinings. Perdita, la carta está perdida en la noche. The girl standing this while at the edge of the howling darkness crossed herself silently. The old malabarista was on his knees where he'd been flung. Perdita, he whispered. Un maleficio, cried the old woman. Que viento tan maleante. By God, you shut up, said Glanton, drawing his revolver. Carroza de muertos, llena de huesos, el joven que the judge, like a great ponderous gin, stepped through the fire, and the flames delivered him up as if he were in some way native to their element. He put his arms around Glanton. Someone snatched the old woman's blindfold from her, and she and the juggler were clouded away. And when the company turned in to sleep, and the low fire was roaring in the blast like a thing alive, these four yet crouched at the edge of the firelight among their strange chattels, and watched how the ragged flames fled down the wind as if sucked by some maelstrom out into the void, some vortex in that waste, opposite to which man's transit and his reckonings alike lay abrogate, as if beyond will or fate he and his beasts and his trappings moved both in car and in substance under consignment to some third and other destiny. In the morning when they rode out, as it was that pale day, with the sun not risen and the wind had abated in the night, and the things of the night were gone, the juggler on his burro trotted out to the head of the column and fell in with Glanton, and they rode on together, and they were so riding in the afternoon when the company entered the town of Llanos. An ancient presidio composed wholly of mud, a tall mud church and a mud watchtowers, and all of its rain-washed and lumpy and sloughing into a soft decay. The advent of the riders bruited and scurved curves that howled woundlessly and slank among the crumbling walls. They rode past the church where old Spanish bells, sea-green with age, hung from a pole between low mud dolmens. Dark-eyed children watched from the hovels. The air was heavy with smoke from the charcoal fires, and a few old pelados sat mute in the doorways, and many of the houses were caved and ruinous and stood for pens. An old man with soapy eyes lurched out at them and held forth his hand. Una corta caridad, he croaked to the passing horses. Por Dios. In the square, two of the Delawares and the outsider Webster were squatting in the dust with a weathered old woman, the color of pipeclay. Dry old crone, half naked, her paps like wrinkled aubergines hanging from under the shawl she wore. She stared at the ground, nor did she look up even when the horses stood all about her. Glanton looked down the square. The town appeared empty. There was a small company of soldiers garrisoned here, but they did not turn out. Dust was blowing through the streets. His horse leaned and sniffed at the old woman and jerked his head and trembled, and Glanton patted the animal's neck and dismounted. She was in a meat camp about 8 miles up the river, said Webster. She can't talk. How many were there? I reckon maybe 15 or 20. They didn't have no stock to amount to anything. I don't know what she was doing here. Glanton crossed in front of his horse, passing the reins behind his back. Watch her, Cap. She bites. She had raised her eyes to the level of his knees. Glanton pushed the horse back and took one of the heavy saddle pistols from its scabbard and cocked it. Watch yourself there. Several of the men stepped back. The woman looked up. Neither courage nor heart sank in those old eyes. He pointed with his left hand, and she turned to follow his hand with her gaze, and she put the pistol to her head and fired. The explosion filled all that sad little park. Some of the horses shayed and stepped. A fist-sized hole erupted out of the far side of the woman's head, and a great vomit of gore. She pitched over and lay slain in her blood without remedy. Blanchard had already put the pistol at half cock, and he flicked away and spent primer with his thumb and was preparing to recharge the cylinder. "McGill," he said, Mexican, solitary of his race in that company, came forward. "Get that receipt for us." He took a skinning knife from his belt and stepped to where the old woman lay and took up her hair and twisted it about his wrist and passed the blade of the knife about her skull and ripped away the scalp. Granton looked at the men. They were stood, some looking down at the old woman, some already seeing to their mounts or their equipage. Only the recruits were watching Granton. He seated a pistol ball in the mouth of the chamber, and then he raised his eyes and looked across the square. The juggler and his family stood aligned like witnesses, and beyond them, in the long mud facade, faces that had been watching from the doors and naked windows dropped away like puppets in a gallery before the slow sweep of his eyes. He levered the ball home and capped the piece and spun the heavy pistol in his hand and returned it to the scabbard at the horse's shoulder and took the dripping trophy from McGill and turned it in the sun the way a man might qualify the pelt of an animal, and then handed it back and took up the trailing reins and led his horse out through the square toward the water at the ford. Whew. They made camp in a grove of cottonwoods across the creek, just beyond the walls of the town, and with dark they drifted in small groups through the smoky streets. Their circus folk had set up a little pitch tent in the dust plaza and had stood a few poles about mounted with cressets and burning oil. The juggler was beating a sort of snare drum made of tin and rawhide and calling out in a high nasal voice his bill of entertainments, while the woman shrieked, "Passe, passe, passe," sweeping her arms about in her gesture of the greatest spectacle. Toban and the kid watched among the military citizenry. Bashcat leaned and spoke to them. "Look yonder, chappies." They stood to look where he pointed. The black stood stripped to the waist behind the tent, and as the juggler turned with a sweep of his arm, the girl gave him a shove, and he leaped from the tent and strode about with strange posturings under the lapsing flare of the torches. Wow. Can't believe she shot herself in the fucking head. He could play the game, dog. He think 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 he could play the game, dog. He could play the game now. 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 Finally, it happened to me right in front of my face while my lips can't describe her. What the hell?